Alright then. Welcome back, everyone. Oh my lord, it's been a while. We've pretty much got everything uncovered at this point. Well, we've got a little bit of the very top of the asteroid to have a look into, but more or less, we've uncovered everything down below. I Know How to Soup has just gifted 5 subs to the community. Thank you very much. What a wonderful way to begin things. Diolch yn fawr, mate. Thank you. Right, we've got a couple of new vents. Well, they're not new so much as they're just vents. But we have yet one more to check out. We've got another volcano over there as well, which is amusing. But I think at that stage, we have more or less covered everything that's around. We were in the middle of setting this up. Now that one, we're going to be delivering over to the slicksters, I believe, that we've got just down here. That are slowly producing a little bit of petroleum and oil down there. Now, one thing I realize is what we could do, because this is basically just going to be full of CO2. We could pump this out when it gets to a certain mass of CO2 in there. Honestly, I need to make a better entryway over here at some point that will allow people to get in. There's a little water lock. It works well for what it is, because ultimately I'm dealing with crazy hot steam, but in a way we could go ahead and just deal with crazy hot CO2 as well. In fact, we could even passively cool that. It occurred to me that I'm spending energy to try and cool this place down. What I could just have is petroleum running in just a straight loop, just constantly circulating to try and balance out the temperatures in here. The temperature up here can get to quite a high temperature, but will eventually, we want that temperature down there so we can run the steam turbines. It seems to make sense to me, to be perfectly honest. It might well be worth us checking out. We'll have to have a look into it, but definitely something that we can consider. Definitely something to consider. There's plenty more oil on the map, plenty more leaking oil fishes that we can tap into. There's a couple over there. What else? We haven't really broken into the gravitas building, but as I mentioned, today's stream is primarily going to be space focused. So my goal is to finally crack into space. Now, I'm not going to do it in the most obvious and efficient way. I want to play around with space, basically. So we're going to probably set something up over here, I imagine. I'm going to try and make some way of gathering everything. That is going to generally avoid the particularly cheesy ways of doing it, like using pneumatic door shunts and stuff like that, for no other reason than to challenge myself. I like the idea of finding ways that use automation to solve the same thing. Look, it's oxygen not included. I want to over-engineer everything, basically. But other than that, I'm fairly happy with our 3 slickster farms down here. That part I'm very, very happy with, actually. We've even got the little area up there where we're going to be able to wrangle slicksters around in. What I'm going to need to do, though, it has occurred to me, is that I need to make sure that eggs, overproduction of slickster eggs, should actually go up there, realistically speaking. Because if I do that, then they can just be up there, and eventually they'll perish. You know, time will come that they'll die. They've got food, but you know they won't reproduce because they'll be fairly cramped, and then the meat can be sent out. But whilst they're up there, they will slowly consume resources and will slowly produce resources. So I could end up with just a massive amount of slicksters up here, producing, you know, a reasonable amount of stuff down here as well. There's a lot of things we can do. There are so many new critters in the DLC, though. Oh, I'm so eager, so impossibly eager to play with it. But we want to finish this base first. We want to see this base doing well. Currently, we're trying. Ah, yes. Yeah, we need to get that down below 150 kilos. I am most sad that this was not quite as efficient as I'd hoped. We're pretty much never going to want any more liquid in here, by and large. How are we controlling that? If there's liquid on the ground, and if the temperature is above 205°C, then it allows more liquid in. realistically, I don't think it can be that simple. I think we have to control it via the gas pressure, honestly. It's going to be a tricky one because we wanted the enormous amount of pressure in here to control, so that we had a lot of medium to inject the heat into that was coming out of the volcano. But this was a little bit of an issue now. One easy way is I could just disconnect this wire, so that will never turn on. That's an option, and probably a good one at this point. Now, once this has dropped the gas pressure below a certain amount, we can shut it down. How is this one working? Currently, I've got this set to, if there's anything other than steam in here, to vent it out. That will do for now. Actually, we'll just allow that to run for a little bit, because once I set that up correctly, this will never turn on again. So once we've hit the correct pressure, we should never have to worry about this. But that was definitely a learning curve, let's say. That was definitely a learning curve. We've got a water geyser over there. We don't need more water. On this map, of all maps, water is not an issue. We don't need more of it. We really don't. I would like to dig across, though. Okay, so that's going to be the first thing we're going to set up. I'm going to have a little dig priority just to get ourselves all the way over here so we can check out whatever this thing is just there. I would very much like to know what the final geyser on the map is. Well, there we are. All other things said and done. We're ready to continue, peeps. We will soon get to a point where I can set up another living quarters, and probably a better one than we've currently got here. Hello, William Dragonheart. How are you doing? Cody, I can only manage so many things on this game before I lose my mind. I imagine there's quite a lot of people who fall into the same sort of category as that, yeah. Last project I remember was the setup of the steam generator. I missed just a teeny tiny bit. Yeah, just a tiny bit. There's not much though. Right. Now, this is a carbon dioxide vent. It's going to be releasing the CO2 at 500 degrees. So we've got a lot of stuff down here with a view to trying to control that. Now, I forget why we had all of these due to be dumping stuff in there. Well, was my plan to move CO2 down there? It may have been. To heat it up, perhaps. If I introduce cold CO2, then it's going to adjust the temperatures a bit. Over here, though, I'm going to dump that hot CO2, ideally, out here. I mean, I want it to remain somewhat warm. I don't remember why I was setting this up. This is the big issue with doing anything, and then stepping away for a long time. This vent cannot handle a huge amount of temperature, so we do have a little cooler set up over here. This one should run only if the temperature is probably above 150. So it'll keep the temperature fairly low, actually. I could set it so that the temperature is above, if it's above 200, since that would allow the heat pipe here to, like the heat block here, to have the correct temperature that we want, realistically. But I guess we could just operate these steam turbines at a lower efficiency, because ultimately we want the CO2 coming out of here for our slicksters, and the molten slickster's comfortable range is 150, I believe. Let's have a quick glance at you. Tell me about yourself, molten slickster. Can live up to 250. Actually, livable range is up to 270. So what about the other ones then? Let's have a quick look at you. Ah, there we are. Livable range is 160. So basically, once we've converted them all into molten slicksters, then we start injecting the ultra-hot CO2 in there. We'll gradually rise the temperature. It will mean that, sadly, truly sadly, our basic slicksters will perish over time. But you know, it's just the way it is. It's the way it is. It's their fault for not evolving to live in much hotter climates. We may just cull them rather than force them to endure you know, lethal levels of temperature. Aavak, don't waste the rapid release of a high-pressure gas if it works in this game. For cooling, that is. No, it doesn't work in that way. You can't... as far as I'm aware, you can't play around with the pressure has no particular impact on it. Hey, yo, Skull Ghost, thank you so much. 10 gift subs. Diolch yn fawr, mate. Thank you so much. Given the length of past Honest sessions, going into space today could mean an 8 to 12 hour stream. Yeah, pretty much. We're not going to be racing this straight away. Thank you so much for that yonking great gift bomb there. Diolch yn fawr, mate. What's wrong, Slashes? You never get picked for what? I do not see. May I ask how gift subs work? Certainly. Does it simply choose at random? Yes. I mean, you can gift a sub specifically to someone, but if you don't pick someone specifically, then it just randomly picks from those who are watching the stream right now. If everyone who's currently watching is already a subscriber, then it will pick from those who follow the channel, and at that point it can be anyone who's ever clicked follow, basically. There've been quite a few times when ridiculous amounts of generosity from the Dabblings has resulted in people who haven't been around for quite some time getting quite large amounts of gift subs and just showing up. I was like, what? I just got a sub randomly. What? It's like, yeah, that's the Dabblings for you. Altec, thank you very much for the 5 months, mate. Diolch yn fawr. Also, hello, Belial. How you doing, buddy? Aavak, it's probably been asked, what's the story behind Aavak? Aavak is a name that I made for a Dungeons & Dragons character a long time ago. It means silhouette. Which I felt was particularly fitting for a skulky rogue. Now we've got the saltwater guys. We don't need water on this map. It's just not a thing that we're ever going to need. In fact, dealing with the water we got on this map is the problem. Not having it. Oh my lord, I need to deal with all this natural gas though as well. My goodness. Alright, let's have a quick gander. We're pumping natural gas up from all the way down yonder. All the way up. It's quite warm natural gas as well. All the way. Way up to the top, and then it gets pumped through here. Starts to store where it can. And kind of backs up where it's able. And then pumps all the way down here into the natural gas generators. These are perpetually producing a little bit of polluted water, which occasionally gets pumped out when this gets above 100 kilos. That turns on, and it just gets added into, let's have a look, goes down and gets introduced into the coolant loop for this area. Now this coolant loop runs pretty much the entire length of the whole base. It's not a good coolant loop, I'm going to be honest with you. It's a bit of a mess. But it's cooled by the chill core of the asteroid. The autosave's getting a bit nasty now. And then re-enters the loop as is. Now, the issue with this is that well, actually, no, we do have an overflow. So if we've got a little bit too much liquid in the system, it gets dumped out along here. Gets filtered into fresh water if we need it. If not, gets ejected. I mean, it goes back into the system if it can. But if it can't, it gets dumped. So it eventually goes back. Eventually. Takes a long roundabout route to get there. This does not need to exist, though. This absolutely does not need to exist the way it does. I can have the entire energy setup self-cooling without any injection of power by just having it run down here into this room as is, and then just run back up, and then just snake around these rooms a little bit. So it picks up the heat and then just dumps it back down. I honestly think that's probably a good move. I honestly think that's a good move. Let's have a look at the temperature in there. I mean, well, the temperature isn't great, to be fair. It would be a lot better if I seal these rooms. Certainly something to be done. The base is crazy power hungry. I have not made a very energy efficient base. I've used a lot of things that don't need to exist, just for the sake of it, for the most part. Right now, I'm thinking these 4 power plants are all set up on switches down here. Currently, the only switch that is active is the natural gas switch. No, that's number 2. Which one's 1? Oh, the hydrogen. Yeah, if we have any waste hydrogen, that gets dealt with there pretty much straight away. Then if that runs down, we switch it over. We're full on power right now. I could just add more batteries, so they're dumping ever more heat into the system. So when it's a good time and we have loads of resources to generate power, it's all going fine. Definitely worth it. Let's have a look at the new printables. Let's keep this rolling. Earthleaf seeds for now. Let's get that going. We will eventually get some more dupes. Honestly, just running with 12, we could do fun. We've got 8 million calories of food, and that's not going down. That's going up. Yeah, okay, so I know I've spent so much time having fun with this on ridiculous levels. We're going to once again try and sort this out. This is all set up with steel. This is all set up with steel. I don't need this many, so I can probably move some of those around. Got one there. I've got some coal generators at the top. Why are they dumping power? Annoying. One single tile was missed. This should be one of the least used ones. It's level 4, so it's the one that gets used last. The way they're ordered, battery number 1 will activate if my power drops lower than 70%, and it'll deactivate once its batteries have above 95%. Bearing in mind, look how much they're draining. Priority 2 will activate above 50%. Below 50%. Will stop at 75. So there's a little bit of an overlap with each one. Priority 3. This, I believe, is the petroleum generators. They will activate if my power threshold drops below 30% and will stop at 55%. And finally, the coal generators on priority 4 will activate if my power ever drops below 10% and will deactivate at 35%. So basically I have them set up in order of the scarcity of the resource that they burn. So this one's level 3 because petroleum, you know, I do have a means of making more petroleum. Coal is a little bit harder because I don't have a particularly good hatch ranch set up yet. Been a lurker since the first Cataclysm playthrough. I'd love to see Aavak play the newest update. Well, that's actually on my list of things to do. We may see that reasonably soon. Heresy Bros, Aavak and Splattercat were amazing. Oh, those were good memories. Those are super good memories. Had such fun with that. I've been a follower of Aavak for a while. I cannot remember when I stumbled across him, but it was before he went on holiday, leaving 3 ferrets at the place he got them for a holiday of their own, and came home with 5, including Aries. Ah, yes. Yes, that was the first TwitchCon I ever went to. In California. Incidentally, speaking of Splatcat, that's where I actually met him in person. There we are. These are outputting a decent amount of power there. because they're being tuned up, so we're getting an extra 50% on them, which is very, very nice. Very nice indeed. All the natural gas generators, likewise, tuned up. These will run whenever the heat, because honestly, they're there more to regulate heat than to generate power. It's just that if they're generating power, I should be using the heat as well. Makes sense. There's no particular reason not to. I do want to set up more of these. I see no reason to have so few. I can happily have more of these set up. But yes, let's go ahead and see how much metal we have for this. We've got a decent amount of tungsten. How would we want to set it up? We've got to carefully navigate this area, unfortunately. I guess what I could do is have it go right down around the side. Pick up heat as it goes. Well, we don't want it all to be tungsten. We want to be sparing with our tungsten use, I think. But effectively, we want to try and grab as much heat in here as we can and share it out. So how about first I use a regular pipe and then upgrade parts of it to tungsten? I think that's probably going to be the better way to go. I first known Aavak in a video of RimWorld on his YouTube channel 1 or 2 years ago. Yeah, I was producing a lot of RimWorld content back then. I have no idea how to pronounce your name. Kingen, I think. Thank you very much for the 2 months. Second month, best month. 2 months, but been watching on YouTube for so long. I love the work you do, Aavak. I hope you and everyone in the chat is having a great night or day. Oh, that was really lovely of you to say. Thank you. It was really, really kind of you to say. Right, we want a nice pipe that will dump that heat. So, yeah, sedimentary rock would be a decent one. Oh, we're just going to go ahead and replace this. We'll swing on down. Actually, we could happily go through this room like that. Cancel this build. And continue to use this. And at some point on this far side, we'll be doing exactly the same before heading up into this room. To cross over this is going to be awkward in a way that I generally dislike doing it. Well, we'll have to bridge across here. Oh, well, that being said, actually, no, we won't, because this is a cooling loop. That cooling loop is going to be repurposed, so we don't need to worry about that one too much. They're currently building the pipes, and every time they build pipes, the game has to completely recalculate everything to do with pipes, which is a little bit weird. It makes sense in a way. Let's go down to the bottom here. A bit of a risk, because if I put anything there that needs to use this piping, then I'm causing myself a bit of a problem later on, but it's fine for now, I think. All the way down here. Not going to be able to go up along this area, so I'm just going to have to accept that. So instead, we'll do something like this. Come all the way up, around, like so. Branch up. Kind of got to thread the needle a little bit here and there. Oops. Oh, this is the general layout I want for the liquids moving through here. Yeah. I think this should work overall. Again, the goal is to get the coolant equalizing the temperature between the industrial room and the generator rooms. This coolant then doesn't need to be cycled. We don't need to inject any power into this whatsoever. We can just have that coolant running this little area if we really want to at that stage. Yeah, how does it introduce more coolant into the system, though? Have a glance. Comes around there. Branches across. Goes up. Oop. Oh, oxygen not included was not responding there. I'm going to need to turn off the autosaves. This is such a risky maneuver. But it has to happen. Autosave frequency. No, not every cycle. Can I make it every 5 cycles? Done. Let's hope that is going to prevent the constant autosaving. I'll drop down a regular save though, just for posterity. Now, how does this get injected down here? Or is that... well, actually, that's a self-contained loop. So really, once I do this whole cooling loop stops doing anything. Both good and bad. That is both good and it is bad. I do need that to be hooked up to something eventually. But for the time being, it's not the worst thing in the world. I do need it to continue cooling that, for example. Alright, one way I can achieve this is to just have a little bridge over there and then just cut that off, so that this cooling loop is still cooling this, which I actually do need it to do. But at that stage, the coolant up here, I'll wait for it to actually inject fresh coolant into the... Well, actually, shutting it down now would probably be one of the better times to do it, but to inject fresh coolant into that loop, perhaps. We'll see. But once we seal this off, it's going to get very hot in there. Very, very quickly. But once this is allowed enough of the coolant out, fresh coolant will be piped in. So, now would be the perfect, in fact, possibly the only time where I can do this maneuver easily. Break that down as priority 9 if you can. Stop any future flow of coolant, and then I can quickly run the coolant loop in there properly. We are then going to add this across. I want something that has a low thermal reactivity. Well, igneous rock would be one of the best ones. And have that one just bridging over there. There we go. Now, if we're very lucky and my duplicants can get to the jobs that I've told them to do as a priority, we'll shut this off. Are we going to take care of that? Is anyone going to take care of that? No, people are just going to wander by. Because they hate me. I know you can reach that, dupes. Don't even pretend. Don't act like you don't know what I've asked you to do. There we go. Someone had some common sense, thank you. Because it's going to get very warm in here very quickly, so we need this work done